Welcome in. We are the Non-Group Fighters, a casual Spirit Island channel. I'm G.
And I'm Ethan. A little bit about us. Me and G studied game design back in college, and we discovered this game about 4 or so years ago. We really enjoyed it, thought the sandbox had a lot to offer, and by the time Nature Incarnate came around, we started uploading gameplay videos about it.
So we upload gameplay videos every Monday, and we try to stream on Twitch every Thursday. We occasionally do some variety content on Wednesdays, but it's not as consistent. Ethan and I have a lot of other tabletop hobbies, like the Holy Trinity, Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, and Dungeons & Dragons. But this is primarily a Spirit Island channel. Since we started the channel, we received a lot of support, and we also received a lot of comments asking about one particular thing, our house rule. So this video, we'll be breaking it down.
So what is our house rule? Well, there's 3 parts, and the base rule of the game is when Ravage happens, the damage goes to the Dahan and the land simultaneously. But for us, we make it so all the damage goes to the Dahan, and if all the Dahan die, remaining damage goes to the land. So, for example, if the Invaders are doing 3 damage, and there's 1 Dahan on the land, 2 damage goes to Dahan, 1 goes to the land. And this provides an early game buffer and allows us to prevent a lot of blights at the cost of mid to late game tempo because we're intentionally losing Dahan.
There are a few edge cases that pop up with this rule, however, and most prevalently they became known in Nature Incarnate. So we had to add 2 additions to this house rule to make it work. The first is effects that make Dahan invulnerable. There are power cards like Stubborn Solidity, Concealing Shadows, Share Secrets of Survival that make it so that Dahan cannot be damaged. Intuitively, with their house rule as it is, it would just mean that the Dahan serve as essentially just a defense 2 per Dahan. But, in the base rules of the game, Invaders split damage as efficiently as possible. So if the Dahan can't be damaged due to invulnerability, then the Invaders are smart enough to damage the land directly. This addition is very important, because otherwise Towering Roots would just be broken.
The second part of this rule is that there are a lot of cards and effects that increase the HP of Dahan. Hearth Vigil gives their Dahan 4 more HP, and there are quite a couple fear cards that will give Dahan between 4 or 6 HP or reduce damage coming to Dahan. We have chosen to globally nerf all related abilities due to the house rule in our games to make it so that the bonuses to Dahan HP are capped at 2, or the reductions to Dahan HP are capped at 2. This doesn't include defense and such. Defense will still act more or less the same way, but for HP buff specifically, this is where we apply it. And lastly, as a consequence, we also had to nerf Vile Strength of the Earth's resilience aspect. Usually it would take 10 damage to blight a land, but because there's sometimes 2 or 1 Dahan, that would make it 14 damage. That's way too much. We think that's unfair. We made it nerf to taking 4 extra damage to blight a land, making it 6. So if there's Dahan in it, we consider it fair, quote unquote.
So, let's get this out of the way. Does our house rule make the game easier? Yes. But not by as much as you think. Across the hundreds of games that we've played with this rule, we've found that it really only affects this one particular early game board state where there's a town and an explorer in one land, and there's 2 or more Dahan in that same land. What this does is it causes the town to kill 1 Dahan in exchange for destroying the town and preventing the blight. That does seem strong initially, but as the game goes on, there's only 1 Dahan in that land now, so it's not going to be able to provide that same buffer again. If you get the same land again, the Invaders are going to rebuild and strike again, and now you're just going to end up having less Dahan in the late game. You could also mitigate this by pushing a bunch of Dahan into that land to tank and then fight back, thus clearing it of Invaders. But now all those Dahan are stuck there, and it's really not that easy to move big groups of Dahan like that around save for a few specific minor powers, or if you're playing Thunder Speaker or Finder of Paths Unseen. Which even then, those spirits have checks and balances in place to make sure that this house rule doesn't get abused. Thunder Speaker loses her presence if a Dahan dies near her, and Finder has a hard time providing defense to the Dahan that are in that land. The only spirit that really gets no downside from this house ruling is Hearth Vigil. So that's why we specifically targeted him with the nerf.
If you've ever played any competitive card games before, the way that we treat Dahan with this house rule is that they are like extra starting HP at the cost of potential fear and damage they could be providing in the future. And we find that this permutation of the game is something that's kind of fun. We are effectively building these two giant armies, these two giant spirits to take out a problem that grows faster because we're losing these Dahan in the first place. We could talk hypotheticals and numbers all day, but there's a question that still remains. Why have the house rule in the first place?
Well, the short answer is that we find it more fun. The long answer is that we've been playing the game wrong for a very long time. I remember there was a time when we played Spirit Island without Initial Explore. We thought that we were gods at this game because we were able to knock out Prussia 6 consistently, even with the worst spirit duos imaginable. Like, never hitting Blighted Island ever. We were just like, oh my god. Do you remember that game where I won on turn 2 with Sharp Fangs?
I do.
Dude, I was so happy that day. And then we discovered the rule, and we played with it again, rules as written, and all of our strategies just completely fell apart because our openers were all based around having an extra turn. Basically, we had to relearn the entire game because we were playing the game at -2 difficulty, essentially, which kind of sucked for our egos.
So when we eventually came to take up the challenge of relearning the game, it had been a couple months, and it was fun learning the openers and seeing the game from a different light. But another couple years after that, I was just walking down the street, checking my phone to see what the rules were in case we missed anything, and I came upon the rules as written Ravage. Instantly, I closed the app, I called G, and I was like, we got a problem, man.
Yeah, and when he told me, I crashed out. It was bad. In the timeline, it was about like a year before I even wanted to play Spirit Island again. And it was because Nature Incarnate was announced that it was going to come out. And me and Ethan got together and we decided, you know what, let's relearn it. Let's make sure we know all the rules this time. And we're not missing anything else. And once we did that once over, we played the game, rules as written. But this time, it wasn't a fun challenge to reevaluate our strategy. We were pretty much ultimately just playing the same game, but we were watching our Dahan die for nothing. The land was going to get blighted anyway, and that sucked. There wasn't really any other alternate strategies. We were just, once again, being outpaced by the Invaders and going to Blighted Island almost every game. We lost so many games on the highest difficulties that before we were just barely making it by the skin of our teeth. It led to just less interesting games for us.
That's when we decided to walk back and play with the Dahan house rule. The gameplay was preferred by both of us. He definitely liked more of the flavor of that style, and I like the emergent gameplay that came out of having Dahan tank. We both thought that it would lead to more different strategies, and we appreciate the people in the community that do play rules as written. We have nothing against them. It's just the play styles that we like come from the spirit duos themselves and playing with these wacky ideas that more often work with the house rule. Again, we're a Spirit Island casual channel. We don't usually play with level 6 difficulty. We're just here to have fun.
And we only want to upload games that we thought were genuinely fun. win or lose. We've posted losses on this channel before, and I would rather lose a game with our house rule than win rules as written. That's how passionately we feel about this. We wanted to make this video because we wanted to be transparent with our community about the way we play the game. It may not be rules as written, but it's what we enjoy. And we want to give you our thanks for the support you gave us in the last... Oh my god, it's almost been a year.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. And just so you know, we do read all your comments. From me, I also appreciate all your support. Just want to say it out on my end. And thank you for the past year, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.